All right, here we go. Welcome to episode number 23 of the Soul Rollers podcast. My name is Jackson Gage. I'm here with William Dennis, and we'll kind of get right into this one. We have a special guest today. If you listen to the show, you've probably heard this name out of William's mouth more than any other name. Maybe with not as much love toward the name Victor, but we do hear this name. We do hear this name quite often. So everybody listening knows this guy, but doesn't know this guy. So we figured we'd bring him on. And William, if you want to introduce your partner.
Yeah, finally got it lined up where we can get D on. I know I brought him up a bunch. I always talk about him, about my roles or about, something I learned from him or getting to do, some kind of training with him. So it's definitely an honor. And, he's someone that's really stood out in my journey. As I started at Rivalry, where I was like the new guy, and I started making connections. And just someone I've really gravitated to, and more than I can say about, like, he's an amazing, graphic designer, and he has all talents and skills as, just a human being. The deeper stuff, which for me is he's someone that when you spend time with him, you want to do more with your life. You want to be a better person. And I think that's the biggest compliment I can give him outside of jiu-jitsu. And that's the greatest amount of love I can share willingly. Him and even towards Victor, like the fact out off the mats is something we always talk about. And D is someone that I really consider on that journey and on that path towards that ideal. And that's why I'm on here, and it's why I bring him up so much. Is because he has it on me, making me push myself more and become a better version of it, because of just how he pushes himself and how he presents himself as a man, as a father, husband, and as a jiu-jitsu player. So the little intro I give of him, and if you want to add a little bit about yourself, D, just.
Well, anyhow, that was that intro was amazing. I tell you, awesome. That was a really good intro, man. Jesus, I think William might have written that shit down. That was good, man. That was really good.
Yeah,
he speaks very highly of you, man.
Straight from the dome.
Yeah, man.
That's a true honor to hear that, man. I live by one thing, is that to represent God in to the fullest, and that's treating people with the utmost respect. Listening and also giving advice, and as a fellow Christian, it's kind of sad to hear the negativity about Christians, but what people don't understand is that it's a relationship with God, and they have to see God through me. And if I don't show that, then I'm not a true Christian. And that's the reason why, I have to live to that standard, and I put him in his pedestal. And everything I do here is I serve other people, and that's the way I have to live. I just love people, man. And being able to see other people's progression is amazing. And everything that Will had just said is like a true honor. I'm like, wow, that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said about me. Like, I'm truly honored by those words from Will. Amazing guy too. I can't see him as a father, seeing him as a practitioner as well. And man, the guy is leaps and bounds, and the tribulations that he's gone through, you have gone through as well. And also listening to your podcast, just listen to everything that you guys have been saying. You guys have been through a lot, and I'm honored to just even be here talking to you guys.
Right on, man.
Again,
right.
Thank you guys.
Glad to have you here, man. Hopefully, we'll see what happens with. Are you seeing William right now, or no?
I'm not. I think he hopped off.
We'll see if I think his Wi-Fi. We'll see if he hops back on. If not, we'll make some adjustments. But we'll give it a couple minutes, because sometimes he has to shut it down and get back on. But
pay that bill, Will.
Oh man,
he's running on. He's running on. What was that 256K?
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Plugged into the phone.
Dialed up.
Yeah.
You gotta get that.
Yeah. Oh, youngsters don't remember that shit.
Nope.
Oh man, yeah,
you
bro.
Got mail.
Yeah. Oh man, bringing me back. So real quick, man, how long you been training, man? You're 43, right?
So, I'm 43.
Yeah, you're 43, man. So, and anybody listening, D competes. He's in good shape. He's always working out, taking care of himself, and he represents the 40 plus very well, man.
40
so,
plus, that's right. The Masters 3 category.
Yeah, because a lot of times you talk to youngsters and they hear, they say, oh, even when you're younger, you're like 40, fuck, but then you get here, it's really just your mind, man. It's really just how old are you in your mind, and you just you can stay very youthful if you believe you can, so.
Exactly. And then also having the Filipino blood, always looking young.
Yeah, that's true, man.
I always get that. You're 43. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm 43. Oh, man, you don't look a day over 21. I'm like, it's the Asian blood, man. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, man. Yep, Filipino and the jiu-jitsu, those two mixed together, bro. You stay young forever and shit.
Oh man, I give credit to my parents. Good
Right on.
genes, I guess.
Yeah, man.
Sorry, what was the question again?
Oh yeah, how long you been training, man? What got you into jiu-jitsu? Oh wait, here comes William. Let's wait for that question. Tell him to fix his
Sounds
Tell him to fix his Wi-Fi.
You got your dial-up set, your modem.
You there, William?
Intermittently.
We're just talking trash about
Yeah, we're talking all kinds of shit.
Get your bill paid.
Like I'm just sitting here. It's different than the last time we did it, or the last 22 times we've done it, and it just like everything just went off. I'm like, okay.
Right on. It worked out. We just kept it going, and you popped back in. So
yeah,
we're about to. I was just asking D, like, we're talking about training after 40, and then I was asking him like what got him into jiu-jitsu and when he started. So he was about to go into that.
Oh, cool. Well, don't let me interrupt.
Before we get into that question, Will, thank you for that introduction. That was beautiful, man. I really appreciate all the words that you said. That's very kind of you. Thank you. So I started March 2019. Actually, it was just for my son. We got him in about December 2018. So it's been that long. And initially, again, it was just for my son, just watching him sitting there. I think it was back in one of your guys' podcasts or episode where you guys talking about the helicopter parent. Do this, do that. Why aren't you doing this? That resonated a lot to me. And that's the reason why I decided to join. Is like, dude, I'm sitting in the sideline telling him, do this, do that. I have no idea what I'm doing or what he's supposed to be doing. I'm like, I'm going to join. And my wife said, yeah, go ahead and join. So now it's been a father and son journey, and it's just been amazing. He sees me getting a stripe, he gets excited. I see him getting a stripe. I get excited for him. Seeing him being able to do moves that he's learning that day is exciting. So it's been about 3 years. 3 years, going on 3 years, and then I love every minute, every second of it. Getting to meet new people. Getting to meet you, Gage. Just the jiu-jitsu community is amazing, man. Everyone's just so supportive. I haven't met anyone with a really high ego. Everyone's like, oh yeah, try this, or hey, can you teach me this, or what do you do with this situation? It's just like it's a learning experience, and I don't know if you'll ever get to a point where, okay, I'm done with learning jiu-jitsu. I don't think it's ever that point. Look at Victor. He's still learning. He goes different places to learn new things, dude. Like when I do triathlons, when I run, I'm just running, or when I'm swimming, and there's a point where you're like, okay, you can swim as much as you can, but is there another level to that? Jiu-jitsu is like that forever climb.
Never ends.
But yeah, it's been 3 years, yeah, and it's a fun journey with my son. So it's
beautiful. Right on. Yeah, they would speak on that topic real quick. Two thoughts came up. One, I was just listening to some guys talk this weekend about the black belt. After class, they were just bullshitting, and one of the guys was saying how you get to black belt, and that's when you're like, you get there and then you look up, you're like, fuck, this mountain is just starting. Yeah, it's like never ending climb. So it's an amazing thing. And then as far as your son, man, it's awesome to have a parent to model a parent who's actually like putting their heart and soul into something they're passionate about, and instead of just going to work, which a lot of kids see their parents just going to work every day, but he sees you working and he sees you putting your heart into something you love, I believe he'll model that later, so jiu-jitsu gives us that as well. So anyhow,
to that point, when I'm training, he's on the phone, playing Roblox. But what I've noticed is that he does watch, because on a ride home, he's like, Dad, good job on that roll. I'm like, well, I thought you were playing Roblox. He'll, no, I saw you. I see you. So it's cool to see that,
Yeah, very
and
cool.
and then on one thing on my side is I stopped sidelining or coaching on the side. The only time I'll say something is when he's, not all there, like he's messing around. That's the only time. The reason why I say that is when I used to do that, it didn't make it fun for him. And I want him to notice that jiu-jitsu is fun, but there's some seriousness to it. And ever since I stopped doing that, he's just been focused, which is nice. There are times he's still a kid. There are times where he just, messes around. This, Will, you see them too. But, that's one thing I love about just watching him is a growth.
Yeah. I like, as a parent, it's also very vulnerable. I was talking about this yesterday with my wife, like expectation. A lot of times those expectations comes from maybe some deep wound or some kind of like difficulty that we face. We don't want to see them struggle in it. And so we like set these high expectations, but we're not allowing them the time to kind of mature and grow. And that's something that jiu-jitsu has built into it. It's like, he's not supposed to be a black belt. Why are you having expectations that look like, hey, you're doing it perfectly? It's like, no. If you're having fun and you're giving it your best effort and you're trying and trying and trying, and you're learning that is a part of success, it's a part of learning, winning. And so sometimes that can help us take a step back as a parent. And then also how we deal with ourselves. Like, we push ourselves hard, but we don't, demand things of ourselves that isn't, matching where we're supposed to be at on the journey. And so just personally and as a parent to like really like understand, well, he's not supposed to have this like perfect guard game. Like, he's a goofball kid, he's let him play, and
Exactly.
I tell Lincoln all the time, hey, what's the number one rule? And have fun. And it's more for me than it is him, because I'm like, no, you missed the, the sweep or whatever. It's like, dude, fun. What are you talking about? So it's to teach me like, hey, have some fun, man. Like, stop being so serious.
Yeah, and again, I mean, we trust Coach. He's the one in there, teaching these kids, and they are just absorbing everything he's saying to them, right? I mean, same thing that we do when we train. We're absorbing everything Coach tells us. I just gotta stay away. I mean, there are times when we're at home and say, hey, why don't you try this next time? He's like, okay, Dad, cool. And then the next day he does it. I was like, oh, cool. That's a better way of coaching. I'll let Victor do what he's got to do because he knows what he's doing. But when we're at home, it's like, hey, I saw you doing this. Why don't you try this next time?
Yeah.
And you can actually say it because you know what you're doing, now that you're training as well.
Exactly.
Maybe maybe you grab here instead, next time, or maybe you do this next time, and doing it when he's at home, I think is a lot better too, once he's out of the heat of the battle, So yeah, that's good, man.
That's usually has hours of Roblox. Yeah. Take that thing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, video games or something, a whole nother topic. I'm curious, just to pick your brain a little bit. What do you think are some of the benefits that you've seen kind of take place outside of jiu-jitsu, like since you've been a part of it, for the last couple of years? Mm-hmm. What do you think what's been a difference now that you and your son have been a part of it? Like, has stuff at home changed, stuff at work? What's been the biggest difference, you think? Because that's a lot of this podcast is really tying like the self-development in with what jiu-jitsu is doing for us and encouraging us to grow as a person.
Oh, that's a good question. One thing for sure has benefited me is the fear of any of my family members getting hurt. Like, if we're out and about, I know what to do. Yeah. And since I know what to do, it's easy for me to just get away from that situation. What's the point of getting into an altercation or a situation? There really is no point, right? But at least I know how to defend and protect my family. And my number one thing for this is really protecting my family. That's my number one goal. Competing really helped me get all those jitters out of the way, that fear. I'm sure you guys as police officers, you guys had to let all fear away because you had to jump into that situation, in a split second. Again, back there, getting off sidetrack. Thank you guys for your services, by the way. I mean, listen to you guys and your stories, just amazing. But yeah, it's gotten to a point where, any situation that I feel threatening, I can step away and not have that fear. And that has been the main focal point for my journey, is to make sure that my family's safe in any situation. Also with my kids, they come back to me in the past saying, this kid's bullying me. I say, okay, this is what you got to do. Don't get into that altercation. Just step away and tell the teacher. If it happens, you already know what to do. You've been guided by an amazing coach. You already know what to do. You handle it. You don't have to strike. You know how to take people down. And it's amazing to hear him say, okay, Dad, I'll do it. But he doesn't have to get into that situation unless he's threatened. And I've discussed this with him. So that's the main reason why this journey has been so amazing, to get that fear off of me and also be able to protect my family. And also in a relationship with my son. By Will.
See you, Will.
Yeah, that relationship with my son has expanded a lot, and being able to be that father figure. Like, I still have my parents, both my mom and dad, but growing up, we played a lot of sports, but they weren't really there because they worked a lot. My mom was a nurse. She wasn't able to go to games. My dad had to take care of things at home. He worked during the day. So having my parents there during sports was minimal. Maybe one or twice that they've seen me play sports, but that was about it. and being able to be there for my son and having him see me on the sidelines is a support, that a kid really wants. Every kid wants to see their dad on the sideline cheering them on. So I do that for both my kids. No matter what, I had to be there. And it's a fun journey.
Yeah, man. I feel you on being there for him. It's I don't know what it is, but it does. I remember being a kid, and it does something for you when you're out there doing whatever, playing. For me, it was soccer, and you look over and you see your parents over there and you're like, fuck yeah, I'm doing this for a reason. Somebody's watching me,
Yeah.
So, I got an audience, those two over there, so yeah, man. So that's awesome. And then I think that's a jiu-jitsu parent. We all have, anybody whose kids do jiu-jitsu, we have that conversation with them about bullies, I tell my daughters the same thing. Whatever happens, you already know how to control somebody. Don't hit them, don't hurt them, don't break their fucking arms. Just take them down and control them. And you know how to do that. So you'll be fine. And it's awesome that you can tell that, tell your son or your daughters that, and you know that they're fine, especially just going through life as they grow. They'll always be fine and confident, so.
Yeah. I think go ahead, D.
Oh, sorry. I've seen a lot of confidence in my son lately. I mean, it's amazing to see that growth. He's only 7 years old. And I mean, for all those kids at Rivalry, they have so much confidence. It's amazing to see that, when they're rolling, when coach pairs them up, you don't see any fear. And then they get up and they smile and shake hands. It's like, dude, I'd be freaking out if I was their age, man. I mean, I don't know. It's just amazing to see that confidence.
Yeah.
But well, sorry.
No, that's my fault. One thing I was pointing out about that it brought up is like growing up, you almost feel fragile. Like you don't really know what you're capable of. And I really think something like jiu-jitsu kind of allows you to step into that. For me as a kid, it was doing I ended up getting stitches all the time because I do daredevil kind of thing, jump off something and break my head open or something stupid. I'm like, it's almost like this internal desire to kind of question yourself or know, man. And me growing up, I was a small, high school grew like a foot, so I was really short and just smaller and, bullied and different stuff. And you just don't know what would happen if being a cop. I kind of forget when you said that, like, I forgot that thought because I put myself in those dangerous circumstances so many times that's just a normal for me. And you almost forget, like, wait a minute, that's still very important for people to know that they're safe and that they can defend themselves and defend their families if they need to. I almost forgot that that's like, a very practical and important thing to know about yourself and know for your family, especially as a father and a husband. But I think that's really important to gain that confidence, and it's not a confidence of going out and beating people up, being the bully, the confidence of knowing that, for one, even if a bully's being a jerk, you can walk away and who cares? Like, there's nothing to prove there. That's not where you prove yourself. It's knowing that, okay, there's nothing to be proven, but here I am, asking more of myself when it matters, and a lot of times, it wasn't that I didn't have fear of the shooting or the burning building or whatever we were dealing with as a cop. It was, I was trained well so that I just went straight into my training. I didn't even think about the fear or the doubts or like, this is scary. Like, I just went right into my training and I knew what I was trained to do. And I think that's the confidence, is when you go in there and you ask of yourself a lot, because there's some of those roles when I look over at you and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm done. It's like the second round. I'm like 3, 4, and 5th, roll. And I give you a fist bump and I'm like, okay, D's going to keep going. I'll keep going. That's when you ask more of yourself. And that's when you gain confidence to go, hey, I don't know where this is going to take me, but I know that I'm trained enough to keep pushing.
Yeah.
That's a confidence that you get from jiu-jitsu and you need.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, those simple fist bumps with you, man, it's a quick recharge, to be honest. We're passing by, we're getting water, and you give me a fist bump. I'm like, yeah, all right, let's go. Yeah, we're going. Next round. Even though we're sweating, we're tired. No, let's go. Right on. We know it's on to the next.
And that's a blessing of jiu-jitsu too, is like I told you about you, like, spending time with you when it was just our families off the mats was amazing. But then when we're on the mats, like, you push me to do more. Like, when you roll against me, like the other day, I felt like a new level of your strength, I thought. And you're like having a bad day, but I'm like, wow. Cause I felt like you had that arm around my back and you pulled me in. You like, it was the perfect fundamental, like, shoulder pressure into my jaw. And I'm like, my jaw even popped a little bit. I was like, ooh.
Oh man, I'm so sorry.
No, it was perfect. And that's why I'm like, dang, that's what proper pressure feels like. Okay, my turn. Like, next roll, I'm going to be looking to do that, because it's like you said, it's learning as you go. Like, I don't want to be aggressive and rude, but I also want to better myself. And so when you have someone that you trust, like I trust you, it allows me to grow. It allows me to go, okay, like there you go. That's a new level, right? Same thing with coach. When we respect our coach, our professor, and we can respect his integrity and his, his ability to learn and grow and then come back and share it with us. It pushes us to a new level. You have to have that mutual respect. And I don't know how you get it on such a deep level if you're not doing jujitsu with someone. It allows us to like know ourselves better. Like I've seen you exhausted and get back up and keep going. I'm like, that's a man I can trust. There's something special about that. I don't know if any of that makes sense to you or if
I felt that. I mean, just seeing everybody else, get back up and roll again. Everyone's exhausted. They got their head down, sweat pouring, they're like, oh, but then they get back up 5 minutes in, boom, they're going, right? It's like that next level. Let's go. Let's keep pushing because we know we're going to get better 1% all the time.
Yeah.
And with that pressure thing, training with Ryan, he continuously tells me, put that pressure on. So that was one thing I've been working on is that solid pressure on that shoulder, on that chin. And that was one thing I was working on that day, as well as working on some different moves. But yeah, that day I was just, I wasn't feeling it for some reason.
Williams meant, just to throw in there, Williams mentioned that shoulder pressure about 8 times this week. The shoulder pressure.
you get different roles with people, and sometimes, but it's like when you know someone and they're your partner and you roll out together, you see when they're stepping it up or when they do something new, you're like, okay, good job, man. And that's what I was telling Jackson. Even when you're on the receiving end of it, like, dang, it still allows you. There's the humbleness and like a true recognition of growth, which allows me to grow as well. If I was in my ego, like, what's up, man? Why are you doing this so hard? It would block me from growing. I wouldn't be able to, take from you and make myself better. That's my point.
True. And one thing to it too is we have to go hard on other teammates that are 3 stripes and up, especially at white belt. The reason why is they've had the mat time, and you have to step it up because I have 2 comps coming up, September, November. I got to push. If I just sit there and lollygag and teach them, I'm not going to get to that next level.
Yeah.
Victor's also told me too, is that, hey, dude, don't worry about it. Just do what you got to do. They're going to learn off of you. What you're doing, they're learning. I said, okay, cool. Because I was always timid about, rolling with white belts and making sure that they're okay. And I've talked to Victor about this too. And he said, no, just go. Just go full speed if you have to, to an extent where you're not, fully hurting them. But it gets to that point where like, I have to do what I got to do to make sure my movement or my technique is sound, and I can get to a position where I'm starting to get to, I need to get to point A to point B to point C. Point C doesn't work, then I need to get to point C, point 1. That's all in my head right now. That's all I've been thinking about, is making sure that if B doesn't work, I need to get to C right away. So, yeah.
What do you, I know you competed, I got to compete with you in Vegas in May. So, and it seemed like that was like a pivotal turning point for you where you like really shifted a mindset thing, which it was my first experience in competition. So I was just kind of there with you. I didn't get to the prior experience. What's the difference between that pivotal point to like your mindset it's at a new level now, which is exciting for me because I get to grow with you. What was the mindset before that was possibly holding you back or different? And then what's changed? Because I'll bring up the moment where I saw like a real shift in not only, your mindset, but your game. Like I was like, oh, there we go. Like I'll bring that up after, but what do you think is the difference in the mindset?
Let me go back to my first competition. It was here as Grappling X, white belt. I think it was a 2-stripe or 1 stripe. I don't remember. Fear was the first one. I had no idea. I've never seen a jiu-jitsu competition. Never been to one. Everyone just kept telling me, just roll the way we roll it at school or at Rivalry. That guy steamrolled me, man. Jeez Louise. I'll send you guys a video of that one. You'd be like, wow, that guy's must have been like 15, 20 pounds overweight. He was huge. He was a big dude. And I went up to 160, 165, thinking I can handle it because I'd roll with bigger dudes at Rivalry. Nope. He was a bigger dude, and he just came at me like a Mack truck. And I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I didn't have the arsenal I have now to know what to do in situations. It wasn't like he was trying to submit me. He just had pressure. He had, it seemed like he had a little bit more experience on the mats competing. But to me at that point, it was just fear and nerves that got to me, Same thing with the second match. That was Battle of the Badges or Grappling with the Badges. I lost that one through submission, but thinking back at it now, that submission was okay. I had fear back then too. But then when Vegas came around as a blue belt, that was on. It was like, all right, I'm turning it up a notch. Yeah, you know, I've already experienced it as a blue belt. You better represent. But a week before that, I was going through a vertigo, and I was at a brink of. I think I was telling you about this, Will.
Yeah.
I was at a brink of like pulling out because it was just getting so bad. And then my wife Googled a maneuver to fix or kind of downplay the vertigo, and it was called the shoot, I'm blanking out. Anyways, there was a maneuver I had to do on the bed, shift my head this way and this way, and whatever. But it helped. And Friday came around, I'm like, let's go, we're gonna compete. And I won my first match off of points. Again, there was still a little bit of fear there, a little bit of what am I doing? But I think halfway through that match, I said, okay, dude, you better push it. Who cares about your vertigo right now? Who cares about what's happening? Just get in and roll. And I was able to win that match off of points. And then my second match, I lost by 5 points, only because he was good. He was really good. I mean, he showed a lot of pressure. And then halfway through the match, I think I was inverted. And then that's when it kicked in. I was like, oh, crap. I'm going sideways. And it was just like, just survive. Just see what you can do. And just push your body. Ended up winning silver. And, you know, that made me super happy. I was amped. And I think that's where the turn came. It was like, okay, I can compete and be able to place. And then just July, competed in Stockton, went up against the same dude, lost by 2 points. But it was a great match. Will, you could testify to that one. That one was a good match, and I'm super happy with that performance. And then the next day, competed in Grappling X, super exhausted. I don't know what happened in that first match, but after talking to Victor and getting a text from my wife saying, "What are you doing? Get your head in the game." Something clicked right there, and to be honest, I destroyed the crap out of those two. I was pretty upset. Only upset at the performance I did on the first match. I'm like, I'm better than that. I know I am. And having that mentality of, I'm better, not to a point of like, you know, you're conceited or your ego's way up there. It's you learn from that first match. It's like, dude, you're way better than that. You know what to do. You know, you still get to the point where you blank out, but then next thing you know, you get into the zone. You're like, okay, oh, you did that. Okay, I'm gonna do this to you. Oh, you're trying to turn. I'm gonna get your back. You know, next thing you know, everything slows down and you're submitting people. You know, I think that was another pivotal point in competition is after that first match. Yeah, and I can't wait to destroy September, November. To be honest, I'm gonna be so violent. It's insane. Like violent to a respectful way, not to a demeaning way to my opponent. But yeah, it's gonna be a very violent competition.
That's a perfect example of the power of your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
That last tournament you're talking about, you know, where self-belief can change everything for you. You know, can you speak a little bit more into that as far as just, and I think that's with anything in life, man, that's with success in anything you're doing. You know, you said you just made that little mindset change and you started whooping ass, you know, and you think that came just from you got to give thanks to your wife for that one, man. She that little text did a lot for you.
Oh
you know?
Yeah. And you know, you guys can testify to this with your spouse when she gives you that look, you know that look, right? she's looking at you. You're like, okay, I know what I got to do, because we're both competitive. You know, to be honest, I hate to lose, but in jiu-jitsu, you know, you kind of have to lose sometimes to get to that next level, and it's okay. You know, but as far as your question and being able to harness that self-confidence again and know everything that my coach has taught me and learning from my teammates is let's just push it and forget about everything else and just do jiu-jitsu. You know, that's the key element to competing. Just do jiu-jitsu. That's it. Don't worry about the goal. Don't worry about the silver. That comes afterwards. It's showing your jiu-jitsu to the community. You know, what Victor has taught us, what our teammates have shown us, like small little details here and there to just be able to really replicate what you do at the gym into competition. Faster pace, but at least, you know, you already know what to do. And it's all muscle memory, you know, like when someone grabs your lapel, what are you gonna do? Well, I'm gonna do this. Or someone's starting to try to get to a straight ankle lock. Do this, you know, it's easy. It's just do jujitsu. That's all I gotta say. Victor told me that in Vegas. He kept telling me that, but my head was like, I want gold. I want gold. I want gold. You know, that was another downfall to my loss. It's like I was waiting for the end goal versus doing jujitsu. And it's the same thing in life too, man. I mean, I didn't get to where I'm at right now by thinking, oh, I'm the best as a designer. No, it took me a process, 15 years to get to where I'm at right now, you know? And yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. I mean, it's just having that self-confidence in you and trusting everything that you've learned from everybody that surrounds you in that community.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Just to throw in there real quick. It's funny you say that because I was sitting with one of my training partners, Sonny, and our coach after practice one day, and he told our coach Mike told Sonny the same thing. He was about to compete, and I think I mentioned this on another episode, but Sonny was asking him about his game plan and this, that, and the other, and coach was like, well, here's how we'll figure it out. Do you want to win or do you want to do jiu-jitsu? And then we'll figure out your game plan, you know? And I'm like, fuck, that kind of just, you know, coming from someone with so much wisdom, just like Victor told you, you know, that means a lot. That's a powerful thing. So, and I don't believe everybody gets that type of wisdom. We're lucky to have these professors telling us this because there's a lot of guys who are just worried about winning. So,
yeah. I think like when you talk about self-confidence and things like that, it's earned, right? I say that all the time. Growth is earned. You got to earn. Self-confidence is a result, not a requirement, right? It's like you can pretend. Like I remember like Vegas, there's guys like, man, they were jumping around and like all intense. And I'm like, these guys are crazy. They're going to rip my head off. And then we went out there. I'm like, oh, they were like pretending like I've earned this. Like you're in my triangle. You're not getting out. Like, I don't care how much you're yelling in warm-ups. Like I'm going to rip your neck off. Like you're done. And you got to earn that because it's in the adversity and the struggle and the grinding of the day to day that you build the character and the confidence in who you are when you perform. That's the mindset shift I've seen in you and the confidence and the push and the drive that has like gone to the next level with you. And from the biggest one where, like I said, I don't know if maybe, because I know I got the concussion a little while back and I don't know if that's what those vertigo symptoms are from. I don't know how you did that competition with those kind of symptoms because it kicked my butt. You know, the dizziness and all that stuff really messed me up. I couldn't train. So I don't know how you competed with that. But again, that's another mind. It's like what we bring to jiu-jitsu is a lot of times, and the competition a lot of times harder than the opponent we're going against. And that's why self-confidence, self-belief, and the things we talk about in here are so important. And jiu-jitsu gives you the training ground, the sounding board to improve that stuff. You know, so for me, the mindset is the key. That's like the key trick. And I remember I was there at the Stockton tournament, which was a totally different version of you. And you got that guy down, you know, like belly down, and you like had that rear naked choke on him and got it. It was so sweet. I was like, dang, like, and even that competition, the role with that guy that you lost to was totally different than the first one, right?
Yeah.
Because it was a different you, not a different him. He still, he seemed to have been like skilled at competing where he knew the numbers game. He knew how to play the points. He was playing the clock, you know, and that's one part of competing if you want that. I didn't even look at the points. I didn't look at I was just going for submission when I competed. And maybe that's a young view of it. I need to like mature, but you know, you go for this submission, you go until they say stop. And that's like a mindset thing with you as well. And then the moment that I really saw like, this is a new level for him is that roll. I think it was your last roll where the guy, like he started kind of get like muscle you around or get aggressive with you at the grappling X. And I'm like, oh, D's going to turn it up. And sure enough, man, you turned the whole thing on him and just started manhandling him. I was like, okay, yeah, that's for him. He's like, nope, not going to happen, man. And that's the kind of people I want to roll with because that's you're going to pull out either the fear that I'm like, I don't want to go here, or you're going to pull out the confidence and build the confidence through the fear, maybe, because you're going to take me to deep waters. And that's the mindset shifts that I see. And I think that's where self-belief and self-confidence becomes so crucial when you're pushing yourself, whether in competition or, you know, training.
Yeah, seriously. And one thing too, why I didn't quit is all those hours that we put into our competition. Nobody sees that.
Yeah.
You know, everybody sees you your opponent sees you in front of you, but they don't see everything behind you, right? All the hours you put in the mats, you know, the sacrifices you have to do with your family. You know, your family's there, but you have to get to the gym. You have to go work out. You have to, you know, take care of your family as well. All those man hours. I mean, to just quit the very last second, that's just not in me. You know, I just couldn't do it. I'm going to push myself, even if, you know, I mean, obviously I'm not going to push myself to a limit where I could lose my life. I would never do that. But it was to a point where, okay, I could do it. I know I can. It's sustaining. I can get to that competition because I put in the man hours in there, and there's no way that person in front of me is going to take it from me. Same thing with the Stockton competition. I went in there with a different mindset. I was just going to be violent again, and because I put all the man hours into it. From the gym to my gym. Working out late night with my wife, and rolling with you guys, and taking a one-on-one with Victor. I had to prove something. That was my mentality. It's like, I put all this work in, and I'm just going to go in there half-assed. No, that ain't gonna happen. Yeah, that's again with life too. I don't half-ass anything. I got to get in there and do it. You don't, like in college, you learn the foundation of things. The true learning is when you're done, when you're in the work field. That's when you start learning. That's where I learned. Be able to read books, be able to learn my craft and expand on it. As well as my marriage. And we got into our marriage, and we had ups and downs, but we were able to work on things that we need to work on, and being able to grow together as a husband and wife. I gotta give a shout out to my wife, Marie. I love her. I love you, babe. I know you listen to this. I can hear you moving around behind me. Oh wait, no, she's not there. No, but having a partner that pushes you and knows your potential, and seeing you succeed at the very end is amazing.
Yeah, I think that's key too, what you just said. Not only is it important in a professor or a coach, but training partners and a life partner, like you're saying. There's a lot of times where I'm like, man, I don't know. And you're like, dude, are you kidding me? You're ready. And I'm like, really? Like, there's times where because of our past conditioning or judgments or whatever we've done in the past, we can't see ourselves fully. Whereas like someone like you or Jackson or, Victor, our coach, it's like, he told me when I did that competition, he's like, you're going to win. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I feel like an idiot. He's like, no, go do this. Do what I tell you. I'm like, okay, shit. I was listening to him. I didn't even know what the hell I was doing. And there's times when you told me before my belt promotion, you're like, dude, you're ready. You are already a blue belt. And I'm like, oh, are you serious? And I'm like, sometimes we discredit ourselves so much, and we need other people to see the potential that's alive inside of us and call it out of us. That's my goal as like a friend, as a husband, as a father, and as a coach. Like for me, that's the whole point of coaching. And I've seen the mental struggles of depression and PTSD and stuff. Just because I was misinterpreting what happened to me in the past didn't allow me to see myself for who I truly was. And when you get in a community like, with someone like you, like I meant every word I said in the beginning of this. And that's the same reason that Jackson's in my life too, is because we went through some dark times together, and we were there for each other, and we kept reminding each other, hey, things will get better. You're worth it. Like, keep going. That's the kind of community you want around you. And I just think that's something natural for jiu-jitsu. And then what you're saying with like, in your head, there's this part of you saying, now this is too hard, just quit. And then you have to overcome that voice or that, whatever that is. Exactly. And that's what I saw switch with you through the competition. So that's where it's like you said, the foundation is like the practice, the study, and then you go out in real life and live it. The life experience is where you get your, cracked in the face and you're like, ooh, that sucked. But I learned from that. It's like,
and that's where competing is. Yeah, exactly. You're learning. I learned a lot from every role, from every match I had competing. And it's just pushing me to be better and better and better.
Yeah.
And that's why, even if you have no desire to compete, just compete. Just do it. What's the point of training jiu-jitsu if you don't get that, tug and pull from somebody that doesn't know you, you've never rolled with, you don't know their quips. It's just like, it's mind opening, and it's amazing to be able to experience that. Even if you just do it once, trust me, just do it.
Yeah. And that's the question I was going to ask you is like, what do you think about, because there's some newer white belts that competed at that Grappling X with you. And some of them lost every match. Right. And like, do you think even though you go and compete and you're really new, like maybe 2-stripe white belt or something like that, you really don't know what's, you're just getting started. Do you still think there is value in you experiencing that loss and that challenge? And what would you tell them if they're thinking about competing, or if they have and they lost completely and they're like, oh man, what would you say to them?
Oh man, if you've lost as a white belt, don't even trip. Honestly, you get back on that horse, you get back in that gym, and you focus on the things that you did wrong, and work on it. There's weeks that I've worked on just one movement, just to, okay, how do I get on mount? How can I get on mount? Did I do it right? Okay, I got swept trying to get on mount. Just focus on that. On every roll. Do the technique that coach teaches us. Halfway into our training session, and then when we get rolling, don't worry about submissions. That submissions will come. Get into that position that you need to get to that submission, and then learn from that competition that you did. What did you do wrong? watch your video, learn from it instead of, oh, I lost. I'm not going to do it anymore because I lost. Well, no, that's not jujitsu. Jujitsu is continuously learning and growing, right? And for those people for those white belts that want to compete, just do it. You're not going to get hurt.
Yeah.
The only thing you'll get hurt is, I don't know. I mean,
Ego.
Ego, right? Just do it. Even if you do it once in your life, just experience that, or just experience competition. I never thought I'd be competing. Honestly, I thought I was just going to go through this journey with my son, learn jujitsu, and competing is such an addiction. It's addicting, man. Just the hype behind it, training hard, working hard at it, and then getting to that day of competition. You're like, you see everybody and what they've gone through, and then right when you get face to face with your opponent, you're like, let's go. There's no other feeling than that.
Yeah, and I do think there's a lot. Hold on one second. Jackson, what do you think about that? I know you haven't competed yet. What's your take on it?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say to the people, because there may be guys listening, especially maybe around our age or whatever, who are they're scared to even get into they're sitting here for a year thinking about even going to jiu-jitsu to start a class, So, I mean, you guys are savages, man, so for the guys who are, I'll dial it back for the guys who just want to start jiu-jitsu, just want to get off the couch. You know what I mean? Because I think there's a lot of people, especially nowadays, because jiu-jitsu is growing. So there's a lot of people thinking about starting. And, I think a lot of the people we talk to are somewhere around our age, guys who are just starting or maybe, white, blue belt level. So, that would be the first step. Like, don't worry about if you haven't even gotten to the jiu-jitsu gym yet, you may want to compete, you may not want to, but just getting in there is going to do major things for your life. Yep. Because I can attest to that, So
hey guys, I got something came up with Lincoln. I got to go grab him at school, so I got to shoot. I apologize.
No worries, Will.
Thank you so much for being on here, man. It means the world to me just to share how much it means to me to have connected with you and to grow through jiu-jitsu with you. So this is only the beginning, and I apologize for catching out this kid. I got to go grab him. He's in the office.
Hope he's okay, man.
Choke somebody out. Shit.
I'll be back. Love you guys.
Okay, man.
You, man. See ya.
All right. Well, right on, man. Well,
Mr. Dennis, Lincoln Armbar, the teacher.
Yeah. Then he was running around screaming Rivalry.
Oh, great. No, to your point, man. Yeah. If I dig what you were saying. If you have kind of inclination of even competing, do it. But just get from the couch to the mats, and you'll understand why. And then you'll get. I think Keanu Reeves, there's an article I read that Keanu Reeves said, once you get into jiu-jitsu, you get into like this deep waters. You just go deeper and deeper into it.
Yeah.
Gosh, I probably killed that article, but it was something similar to that. And he's right. You get deeper and deeper into it. Yeah. I'll have to find it and send it to you.
Yeah. If you do, let me know. It's definitely been the greatest, I don't have an addictive personality whatsoever, but this jiu-jitsu is, and William doesn't like when I use the word addiction for jiu-jitsu because he says addiction is negative, but I just think it's a healthy, I like to call it the healthiest addiction that I've ever seen. And, just everything it does for your life, man. And it's cool seeing you guys, just hearing your story about competing and your mindset change and where you're at now and how you just said you're addicted to competing now, man. So that
wasn't always the case, man. I mean, to be honest, like my early 20s, I was smoking, doing drugs, and dude, I almost became a alcoholic. Like, get off work, pick up a 40 and drink it, and just go to bed. And then it was the turning point for me was, I remember going up a flight of stairs, not being able to breathe. I was like breathing heavily. I'm like, okay, what the heck's going on? And I was smoking 2 packs a day.
Ooh.
And I decided to quit. Then I started, started running, started getting my health back, and it's been great from there. My wife even told me, if I would have met you as a smoker, I probably wouldn't have gone out with you. So I guess that's a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, man.
But that I tried to ruin my body, and now I'm trying to maintain it, and not for myself, but for my family. I think that's you owe it to yourself, even if you haven't even trained jiu-jitsu. Just do something active, something positive, that will push your body to limit. Also mentality, when you get into any kind of sports, you're gonna have that mentality. You're gonna push yourself because you want to be better than you were yesterday. And I see that within me. It's like, now I can get rid of all that tar in my lungs, and all, my liver's finally reviving itself. And, it feels great to be physically active and be able to share that with my family as well. I'm gonna be here for a long time until God says, hey, come home. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's key, man. You're basically, you're reverse aging, man. You're probably in better shape, fitness wise than you have been in years, I'm guessing, as much as you're taking care of yourself and training.
That's true. That is true. Old man strength. There we go.
Exactly, man. Yep. Yeah, and it really does start with, I think I talked about this in one of the other episodes, but man, being disciplined with your fitness and your body, your temple is, man, that's the key to all success in your life. If you can't be disciplined with that, then it's hard to really be disciplined in all other areas. So
exactly.
Yeah, you're a perfect example of a 43-year-old savage out here being a good father, training, just killing it, man. So
I appreciate that.
So keep it up. I mean, that's why we had you on here, man. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
Yeah, bro.
And you guys too, man. You guys are killing it out there as well. I mean, you guys are paving the way for young ones too. And I think that's what we have to do now. As we get older, is we have to pave that way for the younger generation. We were young then. Now we're old. We're more wise. We can give that advice because we've all been through a different journey. If you see someone that's going through the same journey that you went through, you know what to say to them. You know how to lead them into a different path. Similar to mine. I mean, if I find out someone's doing, the things that I used to do, I can lead them, and it's really up to them to follow or go astray. But I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to continuously try, because I think that's what we need to do in life and on this world, is to get people into a better situation than they were before.
Yeah, man. That's it. That's I think that's a good way to start closing this out, man. But I'll give you one more question here, man.
Sure.
So we kind of talked about it, but just because like I was saying, I think I know a lot of the listeners are probably from about 34 to 44, and I would say about 40% male, probably. And no, I'm sorry, 60% male is what it is, in that age range. So, and I don't know, I would say they're either beginners or somebody who's just wanting to start jiu-jitsu and still has the fear. I know that's a thing, man. I want to start jiu-jitsu, but I'm going to wait 2 years. I'm going to get in shape, what would be your advice to the guys thinking about starting jiu-jitsu, or maybe just getting started on the journey?
Oh, just, if you're thinking about it, just do it and go slow. You don't, it's a journey, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Go through every class and leave your ego at the door and just learn. Even if it's one technique that hour, just learn that technique for an hour, and then you'll see the progression daily if you continuously go. If you only go once a week or once a month, you're not going to see a progression. You have to make it somewhat of a commitment. Me and my son only train 3 times a week, because it's one, I'm 43 years old. I have a full-time job, 2 kids, and my wife works as well. She's a professor, and we have to balance it. So for the older generation, like our generation, we're working, we have families. Take that time for yourself, that hour to train. And again, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Take your time. You're gonna learn to adapt, and you're gonna learn to get into it slowly. And then once you get moving, once that that cycle starts getting a little bit faster, then you're gonna start seeing things change, and you're gonna see your mentality change, your body change. So I say just do it, but go at your pace until you get to a point where, okay, I can continuously go now.
Right on. Beautiful, man. Yeah. Real quick, one thing you said in there that stood out is, when you have a family and you're working and you want to be there for your kids, and it can be a puzzle trying to figure out, okay, when can I train? When can I get in there and do it? But the thing about it is that I've seen with jiu-jitsu is, like you said, man, you just you have to make the time for it. And, you can't make excuses. And if you do make the time for it, and you do put the time in, and you do put the sweat and the blood and the tears in, it'll make the rest of your life better. The rest of your life will get better. You'll feel better when you feel better. Everyone around you feels better. And just, and that's just from you being disciplined and going for it. So yes, I totally agree, man. Get in there and do it.
Do it. And just go at your pace. That's really the gist of it. Just go on your pace.
Right on.
You're that journey is about you, and the people that you bring around you, those are the people that are going to help you continue on your journey. Like you, Will, all my other teammates, my coach, they're the ones helping me get through this journey. It's it's a very long journey, and I'm all for it. Me and my son are.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's real, man. When you're talking right there, it almost sounded like a metaphor for life. Like, my teammates, my friends, the people I'm meeting in jiu-jitsu, these are the people helping me get along in this journey, in the journey of jiu-jitsu, but it's also the journey of life, man.
Yep.
And jiu-jitsu provides, there's some people going through life that don't have a network. They don't have people around them. It can be a lot of people suffer from loneliness, man. And you get into jiu-jitsu and all of a sudden you have a supportive network of like awesome people. So I can't say enough good things about it, obviously.
That's true, because everything outside, when you're in that gym, it's like the world stops, man. And that's all you focus on is jiu-jitsu, right? That's really it. You don't talk about politics. You don't talk about, religion. You don't talk about this. You talk about technique. You talk about movements. You talk about, there are times where we can sit in the mats. Like we have this thing called dad class. Sorry if I'm taking up the time, but
we got go for it, man.
All right. We have this thing called dad class. It's during the kids' time. We'll do techniques, or sometimes we'll just sit there and talk about, what's going on with their lives, and it's cool to talk to Will sometimes. Like we'll do one technique, next thing you know, we're sitting there talking about our families,
Yep.
And that support group is really cool to have. And then coming back home, it's even better. You have a supportive wife that supports you 100%, and to be able to be thankful for her is amazing. It just brings you back as a better person, honestly. One thing I do want to add too is surrounding yourself with like-minded people and positive people. I surrounded myself with people that just wanted to go out and party. I wasn't getting anywhere. It took me a long time to graduate college because all I wanted to do was binge drink and party. I had to put a stop to that, and now I'm surrounding myself with so many positive people that push me and be able to compete. To be honest, I never knew I'd get to this level where I'm competing, honestly, and it's amazing.
Yeah, man. Surrounding yourself with the right people is huge, man. So, I mean, and the cool thing with jiu-jitsu is your network keeps, as you stay in jiu-jitsu, your network keeps expanding. Your network of cool people keeps expanding. Like I never would have met you, man. Like we never would have connected without jiu-jitsu, and that's you're the type of person that I want to connect with for sure. So
likewise, man.
Definitely grateful that you came on here to speak with us, and I'm sure we'll have you on again.
Awesome.
Keep giving William that shoulder, give him no breaks, man. Give him that shoulder pressure. I'm telling you, he spoke about that shoulder pressure. He didn't speak about it in a bad way. He was happy about it. He's like, oh man, D had some shoulder pressure on me, man. I never felt like that. I'm like, yeah, man. But he, man, give it to William. Go ahead.
That guy, man, he's amazing. He's an amazing dude, and he's going to be such an amazing practitioner. He's so flexible, and you get into his close guard, sweet Moses.
Yeah,
he like wraps around you like Gumby. I'm like, dude, where's your leg start and where's your leg end, man? This is like wrapped around.
The thing about him is he's long, but he's very solid, man. So it's a deadly combo, mixed with technique. So yeah, for sure. I can't wait to roll with him. I only rolled with him when he first started, so can't wait to get to roll with you guys.
Yeah, I can't wait to roll with you, man. It should be fun.
Yeah,
should
man.
be very fun.
Yeah, for sure. So,
and thank you for supporting Grappling X, man. Really appreciate that. You coming down.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. It was fun watching, man. It was fun watching. That was solid. That was a solid performance too, man. That's the one you said where you had that mindset switch. Is that the one?
Yep.
Yeah. After your first match, that's
the first match.
After that,
all right.
Yeah, you were beast after that, man. That was super solid. So yeah,
Thanks,
it was fun watching, man.
Again, thank you for having me on here. It's an honor.
Yeah, you got it.
Much success to you guys and the show and the people you're reaching out to. It's amazing. Like first time Will shared the episode with me, I'm like, what are you guys doing? You guys need to get this out there. Go public, please.
Yeah, man.
Just hearing you guys' stories and listen to you guys talk about life and jiu-jitsu. You guys had to get it out there.
Yeah. I remember him telling me that you had said that, and that just you saying that, those little things are they also build confidence, and that confidence, it's like I said, it's with anything you're doing. If you got to build up a belief in yourself to grow it, and so I appreciate you telling Will that because he relayed it to me and I'm like, oh, somebody likes his shit. Yeah, that's good. Let's share it.
Like it, man.
Yeah,
I already hearing people loving it, man. So
yeah.
Big ups to you guys for starting this, man.
Right on, man. Yeah, thank you. That's much appreciated. Very grateful for you, man. Thank you.
Of course.
All right, man. Well, real quick, I just wanted to give a shout out to JD Escobedo in New Bern, North Carolina. I believe it's North Carolina. He's been training at Walters Jiu-Jitsu, and bro, thank you for tagging us in all of your stories, man, lately. That's dope. Like the vision is eventually to just have like people all over tagging it, you know, people that resonate with this message, tagging us in their stories or whatever. So to see it in North Carolina is pretty dope, man. So thank you, JD. Keep it up. And yeah, other than that, D, we appreciate having you here today, man. And like I said, hopefully you'll be a regular on here. We'll have you on again soon. Maybe after your next competition or something, we'll have you on so you could talk about it.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be fun to do.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So yeah, right on. Thanks for being here. And what else? There should be one other thing. Oh, if you made it this far, make sure you maybe rate and review or follow on Spotify. And I think that's everything. Just follow us on Instagram at soulrollers_JJ. And yeah, what's your Instagram?
Dude, hold on. I forget sometimes.
It's
just
at D Deleon.
D Deleon 52.
At D Deleon 52. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Go check out D. Say hello. And yeah, man, thanks for being here. And we will.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure, man. We'll talk soon. All right. We'll find out what happened. We'll find out what happened with William's son, and we'll talk about it on the next episode here.
Lincoln got somebody on the armbar. We'll see you guys.
All right, man. Take care. Thank you, man.
You too. Later.
Bye.